Good afternoon, and thank you for the chance to speak today. Last year I did a presentation about the tridactyl Nazca Mummies, which I will summarize today for those who are not familiar with the case. I will also provide an update of the latest results. At the end of 2014 in Nazca, Peru, Leandro Benedicto Rivera, known as Mario, discovered the Nazca Mummies. The Nazca Mummies only have 3 fingers and 3 toes. It is a significant discovery. The tridactyl Nazca Mummies have been controversial due to conflicting views regarding their authenticity. In Peru, there has not been much media coverage of the Nazca Mummies, but the mainstream archaeological Peruvian community made a statement in July 2017 that the tridactyl Nazca Mummies were pre-Columbian human remains. The statement said they are the cultural heritage of the nation and were maliciously manipulated and even mutilated to appearance like the mummy Maria. For the last 2 years, there have been people who were trying to find every possible fault for the mummies, generating a lot of publicity, discrediting the scientists who have been studying the mummies since their discovery. In this presentation, I am only providing factual information. This research has been made available by qualified professionals, including radiologists, biologists, forensic pathologists, bone disease specialists, and medical surgeons. On November 19, 2018, the scientists presented the result of the analysis of the Nazca Mummies over 4 hours. It took place in the Congress Hall of the Republic of Peru, led by Peruvian MP Armando Villanueva Mercado. He was the only MP present at the Congress on November 19, 2018. He invited the Peruvian Minister of Culture to the presentation, but the minister did not attend. Other academics guests attended, such as representatives from archaeology faculties of universities in Peru. Scientists from Mexico, France, Russia, and Peru presented the results based on radiocarbon-14 dating, high-resolution CT scans, and DNA analysis at the Congress of the Republic of Peru. Last year, I had the opportunity to be at the Congress of the Republic of Peru, with which scientists and specialists from several countries spoke in support of the authenticity of the mummies. I am no scholar, but I was a school teacher in Peru, and for more than 20 years I worked as a data research analyst at the Westpac Bank in New South Wales, and later as an information technology, hardware, and software for support in public schools in New South Wales. I studied the evidence and spoken at length with some experts involved in the tridactyl Nazca Mummies case. I have learned to understand many of the technical reports of tests performed by laboratories, and this afternoon I am happy to share with you my experience. A Nazca civilization flourished on the southern coast of Peru from 200 BC and 600 CE. The Nazca lines are close to the Nazca town, about 400 kilometers south of Lima. The most impressive remnants of this civilization are the enormous figures. This image is an ancient geoglyph of the Nazca lines located in the desert of the south coast of Peru. The Nazca lines are huge images, only visible from the air, which are geometrically perfect with over 300 different geometric shapes, including animals and plants. The current thinking is the majority of lines were made by the Nazca people. The hummingbird in this picture is over 92 meters in length and was formed around 2,000 years ago. This place is near the area where Leandro Sarmiento, with the name of alias Mario, and his peers first found the mummies. This spider image is only visible from the air at around 45 meters long. This is also an example of the impressive Nazca lines. I have been traveling to the Andes in Peru to find out more about other strange beings and the people's experiences with them for the last 14 years. My interest in speaking with local people in the Andes is to learn more about their stories and unusual experiences. These tridactyl Nazca mummies were found in the Peruvian desert between the city Nazca and Palpa. Regarding the place of origin, it is close to the Nazca lines, the location on which has been undisclosed. I came across the Nazca mummies in my research, and I wanted to find out more about this subject. Through my research, I realized that this topic is complex, with varying accounts of the authenticity of the mummies and the nature of the discovery. Today, I will briefly share with you what I have learned so far. At the end of 2014, Leandro Benedicto Rivera, also known as Mario, was walking in the Nazca Desert near the Nazca Palpa of Peru when he spotted an anomaly in one of the hills in the desert. As he approached, he noticed there was a solid rock structure on the side of the mountain. He started to take out the sand and soil, and it took him many months to find that it was a cavity entrance. The place was dark, and with the torch, he could see inside the room there were hundreds of pink seashells on the floor. There were also several stones carved with forms resembling alien beings, representations of frogs, and many carved rocks in the shape of flying saucers. Mario could not understand why these representations were on the ground. And they also found two Peruvian mummies bundles wrapped in a woven mantle in the middle of the room, like this image. In this image, you can see in the center was a mummy in the fetal position, so that the deceased could travel to the afterlife in the same form in which she or he was born. They were buried with valuable materials such as precious metal, jewelry, beautiful pottery, weaving tools, and the interior layers were made of embroidered textiles. Mario came back after 6 months to the same place. This time Mario noticed that there were other walls, and he decided to hit the walls to see if there was another room behind the walls. Eventually, he made a hole to the wall and noticed on the other side was an underground entrance with large stones. He noticed the entrance sealed from inside. Mario and his friends kept walking and discovered more rooms with walls that they were 2 or 3 meters high. This photo is similar to what he describes. He said the stones in the room were similar to the architecture at the Sacsayhuamán or Machu Picchu in Cusco, Peru. They entered into another room, and in the middle was a sarcophagus made of stone, about 2 meters long by 1 meter wide, covered with a thick stone lid. Mario felt that it was very challenging to remove the cover of the mysterious stone sarcophagus to see what was inside. This photo here is for reference only. They returned day after day and tried to open the intriguing sarcophagus. Finally, they were able to successfully to move, thinking that they will find gold objects. They could not take good pictures because the cameras and mobiles did not work very well, as there was interference at the time. Finally, when they opened the sarcophagus, all were astonished to see that there were remarkable bodies covered with a white dust. It is diatomaceous earth. Inside the sarcophagus, they found many objects made of metal, including small ring stones. The first picture on the top of the left looks like little bottles, and when you shake it, you can feel that there was something inside, like a liquid. These tridactyl Nazca Mummies were covered with infusions and vegetable oil, as well as diatomaceous earth, which has remarkable antimicrobial and desiccated properties. No mummies in Peru or elsewhere have ever been preserved in this way. Professor Galeski, who is the representative of the first medical university of Russia, pointed out that all the samples were biological origin according to the chemical analysis. They found a significant presence of cadmium as part of the chemical composition of diatomaceous earth. Dr. Galeski said that this is the most interesting, that the diatomaceous earth has undergone a technological treatment to achieve a consistency of very fine powder, which is no characteristic to find in other places on Earth. The biochemist Dr. Clara Martinez interpreted the results of the tridactyl Nazca Mummies at Congress. The results were carried out by several laboratories around the world. She classifies the specimens in 3 groups according with the type of analysis. In the first group is Maria, Josefina, Alberto, Victoria, and Guaguita. There has been a deep genome sequencing of DNA analysis in these specimens of group 1 by numerous laboratories. The second group is the second image on the right, consists of 2 loose pieces analyzed by Lakehead University Paleo DNA of Canada, and it was only an exploratory data analysis. The third image on the right is the third group, and it shows small pieces of 21 to 30 centimeters. There were no carbon 14 tested or DNA tested. These pieces belong to Raúl Ronceros, also known as Crowicks. As mentioned, there are similar representations of beings in other cultures, such as India. This cave painting shows a being with 3 fingers and 3 toes. It is 10,000 years old cave painting discovered in India, in the Chamara region. In Peru, there are many representations of beings with 3 fingers, We can see them in the cave painting, in ceramics, in ornamental drawings, and in the fabrics of indigenous people. The image is a Chimu textile from the north coast dated at around AD 900, 1470 DC. These are representations in different cultures from ancient Peru showing beings with 3 fingers. The image on the left is a bead made of shell and stone beads from Chanchan, the capital city of Peruvian Chimu culture. The image on the right is a piece of pottery with 3 fingers from the Nazca culture that flourished around 100 BC to AD 800. This stone is from Kotosh civilization, 1800, Ambo, Huánuco, Peru. This stone recently found by the Peruvian explorer Baby Trujillo Baskets in Buena Vista near Ambo, Huánuco, Peru. You may notice this stone is a carving with crossed hands of 5 to 3 fingers, and on the right, the double helix resembles strands of DNA, and on the top of the stone, 3 points like stars of Orion. His grandparents told him that they had seen little beings from time to time over the years. I have also heard about these creatures over the years in my travels to Peru and in talking to the local people of the Andes in Peru. These are archaeological remains that represent beings with reptilian physiognomy. The first image is a 7,000 years old humanoid statue with lizard-like features. It was discovered by scientists at the archaeological site of Alubite, Mesopotamia. The second image is an ancient dogu pottery with large eyes made in Japan, dated from 10,000 BC to 300 BC. And the third image belongs to the ancient Mayan civilization, which inhabited Puebla around AD 400 in Mexico. This image is from Mayan culture in Teotihuacan in Mexico, 1,700 years ago. The biologist Jose Rio de la Cruz pointed out that this is a recent discovery of the Mayan presence in Teotihuacan, Mexico. This photograph corresponds to a small tridactyl mummy exhibited in a private museum in Belgium, an unknown species of unidentified DNA, and it was found in the town of Ica, Peru, many years ago. In July 2017, we were given special access to see the tridactyl Nazca Mummies. When I was in front of the mummies, I was shocked at first, and I had this expression like Brian Foster. This body seems incredible and resembled a strange being in our world. Brian Foster studied the DNA of the Paracas elongated skulls of Peru. The morphological characteristics of the mummies are very familiar to those of the aliens from Steven Spielberg film, E.T. Dr. Horace Drew, who has postdoctoral research on DNA and chromosomes at the MCR Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, England, brought to my attention to this image after I did my presentation last year about the tridactyl Nazca Mummies, and I want to share with you. His quotation is, "Some of the new Peruvian mummies just discovered in 2016 show 3 long fingers and flat fingertips, like those drawn in a crop Pictures from England, 2012. Now, I will show the team of scientists that took part in this investigation on the Nazca Mummies. This is Jose de la Cruz Rio Lopez, graduated from the Autonomous University of Campeche in Mexico. He is biologist since 2000 and from 2005. From 2005 to 2018, worked in the area of public of health as a laboratory biologist. This is Dr. Jose Salce Benitez. He's a forensic physician and medical chief officer of the Mexico Navy. Dr. Raimundo Salas, a radiologist with 30 years of experience in his field. Dr. Enzo Salazar Vivanco from Aquino University, Bolivia. This is Dr. Mario Esparza, Peruvian microbiologist from National University, Trujillo, and doctor in biology science from the Faculty of Science, Chile University, and Göttingen University, Germany. He studied the Nazca Mummies independently. This is Dr. Mary Jessie, is an assistant professor, radiology, diagnostic from the University of Colorado, USA. These are the names and specialists of Russian team of experts and scientists who carry out the study of the Nazca Mummies and presented on behalf of all by Dr. Galeski at the Congress of the Republic of Peru on November 19, 2018. This is Professor Galeski Dimitri from Department of Maxillofacial Anatomy of the First Pavlov State Medical St. Petersburg University. He holds both a medical degree and PhD. He is maxillofacial surgeon, fully qualified for the tomography analysis of anatomical structure, and he is also dentist. The mummy named Maria, found in the tomb near the Nazca lines in south of Peru. Maria is 1.68 centimeters long. She was found covered with diatomaceous earth. The body preservation is excellent. She has all internal organs desiccated except for the kidney. She has no hair or ears. She has big eyes and a small nose. According to tissue samples of Maria, the results carbon dating died about 1,740 years ago, which means she lives at the same time of the Nazca lines. Dr. Raimundo Salas' evaluation on Maria is that her shoulders, elbows, and ankles are intact. The shape of the skull is very elongated, and brain capacity is 20% larger than any human skull. There is zero evidence from the CTA scan of any artificial manipulation. Dr. Jessie said that she checked the scan images and she does not see any suture lines. There is no bones that are separated in the skull. The radiologist Reinaldo Salas said that Maria's hands did not suffer any damage. He pointed out that the joint capsules are intact and the correlation between each joint is perfect. Dr. Salce said that Maria's hands and feet, it is not possible for 2 fingers in each side to have been cut off and the phalanges added, because the anatomical correspondence of each bone and the relationship between them determine that it is not possible to alter or falsify these hands. The Russian radiologist Natalia Saloshnaya analyzed the tomographies and X-rays of bodies made by radiologists Dr. Raimundo Salas Alfaro, giving her certification of the absence of cuts or manipulation detectable in them. The CT scan shows the intricacy of the internal organs, which are intact and seem well preserved, according to Dr. Salce. The hands have horizontal fingerprints unlike those of humans. The biologist José de la Cruz Rios described Maria's fingertips have a similar ending as a theropod extinct dinosaurs. The Mexican biologist José de la Cruz Rios said that the last three phalanges adopt a peculiar shape. The toes are a small size and irregular shapes as a whole. They form an angle of 90 degrees, ending with rounded pads with horizontal finger prints. The biologist José de la Cruz explained that in Homo sapiens, the Achilles heel is inserted in the calcaneus bone. In Maria's feet, the Achilles heel is inserted in the astragalus bone, right in the calcaneus bone. Dr. Raimundo Salas Alfaro points out that Maria suffered an accident or a spinal fracture in D7, and it was affected by sclerosis, which indicates that Maria continued living after this fracture. Gaia Entertainment Group USA sent issue samples of Maria to Beta Analytical Laboratory for radiocarbon 14 dating for analysis, and Maria's body is 1,740 years. Also, Jaime Maussan sent tissue samples of Maria to the Institute of Physics Laboratory, National Autonomous University of Mexico, and the dating result was 1,771 years old. In July 2017, British researcher and ufologist Steve Mira and Barry Fitzgerald had access to the tridactyl Nazca Mummies during his visit to Peru. On the first visit, I helped them with translation, and they were not allowed to take any samples of the Nazca Mummies. Then, at the end of July 2017, I learned that Barry Fitzgerald returned to Peru and got samples from Maria and Guaguita. Steve Mira asked the Incari Institute of Cusco, Peru, to take tissue samples of Maria and Guaguita to verify the authenticity of the mummies, as they did not trust Gaia Entertainment Group USA, Jaime Maussan, and others. They said their goal were to get a credible DNA analysis with Oxford and Glasgow laboratories. But finally, Sri Lanka laboratory did the ancient DNA test. Then, in November 2017, Steve Mira got the results from the Sri Lanka laboratory report of ancient DNA, which analyzed Maria's foot tissue. Steve Mira made a statement at the conference and to the media and appearance in newspapers, and also one of the interviews with Linda Moulton in May 2018. Steve Mira claims that Maria could be a new species of human. Steve Mira claims that Maria is 95% primate and 5% unknown, 95% primate and 5% unknown genome. He believes the finding could alter the history books forever. Steve Mira said that his team are the only ones that have managed to obtain DNA results. The biochemist Dr. Clara Martinez interpreted the data as presented in the ancient DNA report from this laboratory. She said this report is a preliminary, exploratory, and inconclusive report of ancient DNA analysis of Maria food. Around May 2018, the Peruvian detractor McLovin and his group were thinking of investigating Steve Mira. And I passed the message to the CEO, Sohar Entertainment Global Group. The Peruvian McLovin did a video with comments about Steve Mira. Then, a few days later, Steve Mira has changed his position radically. He published in his Facebook that the Nazca Mummies are fake and his sources of information were from the Peruvian McLovin. He became deeply involved with him. Who is Luca McLovin? He's Peruvian. No name, no face. Luca McLovin has a conversation on the internet with his group. He recognizes that he belongs to the Peruvian Armed Forces. McLovin said, "There is a whole team of Peruvian Armed Forces that are working independently, and we know the activities of all those who are involved in the pterodactyl Nazca Mummies." Then, the next day, he deleted his video, but there are copies around about this conversation. Jaime Maussan, third millennium from Mexico, organized an autosomal DNA test with Biotemol Laboratory of Mexico to verify if there is a correspondence between Maria hen and food and body. The result of the laboratory shows that only 33.6% of Maria DNA corresponds to Homo sapiens. After refining the comparison with the BLAST database, it shows that there is 20% of DNA of Maria corresponds to bacteria, virus, and microorganisms, and the rest 4640 of the genome does not correspond with Homo sapiens or any species that exists on Earth. The Incari Institute organized an autosomal DNA test with Lakehead University PaleoDNA of Canada to verify if there are any correspondence between Maria spined hens and feet. The result obtained from the laboratory of PaleoDNA is that Maria vertebra, hen, and feet are corresponding to each other. The Incari Institute also requested a massive nuclear DNA sequencing, and the result of Dr. Sarah Coward shows that only 33.68% of Maria DNA correspond to Homo sapiens, and 1842 bacteria and 47.91% genome does not correspond with Homo sapiens or any species that exist on Earth. Some organizations in Russia studied the tissue samples of DNA of Maria and Wawita. The St. Petersburg Medical Genetics Institute in Russia is a research organization that was testing the hand, foot, and body of Maria and released the following statement. The body, fingers, and toes of Maria have the same chemical composition and DNA. It is one person. This addresses discussions where people claim the body could be different pieces put together. St. Petersburg University did an exome analysis for a massive nuclear DNA sequencing, finding that For Maria, only 23.8 correspond to human genome, but the population analysis showed that Maria did not belong to any species identified on planet Earth. These small mummies have characteristics of reptile on humanoid form. On the first image, Josefina is on the left and Alberto is on the right. They have been preserved in diatomaceous earth. They are still preserving their organs. It is human with reptilian characteristics, no hair, no auricle, nozzle. Alberto's height is 60.5 centimeters. According to biologist José de la Cruz Rios, these tridactyl Nazca mummies have a scaled skin, as you can see in the second image. Josefina's height is 56 centimeters. Their head is almost shaped. According to the carbon-14 test results, are 800 years old. The forensic physician, Dr. José Salce, has determined that all bodies have severe symptoms of bone disease and malnutrition. They have ribs in the form of semicircle. In this image, you can see the base of the skull. Humans and many species on Earth has a round or void-forming magnum. According to the physician, Dr. José Salce, these skulls are different from any human skulls. The structure of the skull has a large square hole where the spinal cord accesses the brain in the direct center of the skulls, as opposed to the rear third of the skull in human. No known animal exists with this configuration. Their neck appears to be potentially retractable. The forensic physician José Salce said Josefina and Alberto have more characteristics of reptilian type of creature. It looks human, but they are not human. The skull is elongated. There are no ears. Dr. Galeski from St. Petersburg University points out that Josefina's skull structure also contains metal. The opening of the mouth is 15 millimeters length without lips, teeth, or muscles for chewing. The biologist José de la Cruz Rio Lopez pointed out during his observation, found behind the mouth there is orifices, and this being could have fed by aspiration of liquids. Professor Galiski said that Josefina experienced some traumatic injuries to her jaw and spine, and there is a correlation in distance between the injuries that suggests an attack by some canine animal. She appears to have survived some of her injuries because of bone growth around them. Professor Galeski points out that there is evidence of some sophisticated medical treatment to the injuries and implants that, to his knowledge, could not have been done by human hands 1,200 years ago. The furcula is a bone in the shape of fork that has only birds and theropod dinosaurs. Both clavicles are fused to form a single bone. The biologist José de la Cruz points out the hand consists of a single corporal bone and 3 fingers, each of them having 3 phalanges ending in a flat claw. This tridactyl characteristic, 3 fingers and the hand in pronation position, is theropod characteristics of extinct dinosaurs. The biologist José de la Cruz Rio, regarding the foot of Josefina, said the anatomy of the foot is completely different compared to human species. The single bone constitutes the pot serves as a sole. It is found in a group of birds called casualized. On the left, you can see a picture that shows the pelvic structure of humans, and on the right is Alberto hip. Peruvian General Surgery Ramiro Hermosa looked at the exercise of Alberto, and his comments include that he noticed the bone structure is damaged, and in his opinion, they tried to solve the problem with a metallic device to correct the deficit. Okay, leave it there. The biologist Jose de la Cruz points out the bones of Josefina and Alberto are hollow but rigid, similar to the structures of bird bones. This anatomical feature is characteristic of the theropods and birds. They are certainly not made from human body parts because no human body has hollow. In this exercise and tomography image, Josefina, we can observe three egg-shaped objects in the belly. These images were taken by the Peruvian radiologist Raimundo Alba. The biologist Jose Rio said the symmetrical shape of these eggs is typical in reptilians. The size of three eggs range from 2 centimeters and the shape is symmetrical, characteristics of the reptilians. The forensic physician, Dr. Jose Salce, confirms these shapes are biological or part of the same body. The image on the right, the biologist Jose de la Cruz points out that the fourth egg is initial stage of development, located in the ovarian canal of the left abdominal cavity. This showed that this being was in a state of active reproduction. The biologist Jose Rio said that Josefina has cloaca fissure, like reptiles, in the lower body, inside and across what would be its legs. This indicates as it would be reptiles, the possibility that it would deposit the eggs using the condyum. The cloaca in reptile is the slit opening under the tail. Josefina has a metal piece across her without unknown purpose. The metal seems integrated into the skin. These are the implants on Josefina. The metal were analyzed by Ingement laboratory in Lima, Peru. The analysis of this report was made by Lilian Christopher, Science Engineering. Josefina metallic implant on the chest is 85% copper from the pre-Columbian period. The metallic implant on the finger is 78 iron and 16% chromium and 5% carbon. The metal implant on the hand is 60% gold, 30% silver, and 10% copper. And the metallic implant of Alberto hip is 50% silver and 2% copper. This image is another smaller body known as Victoria. It was discovered without a head. The scientists were able to analyze the body, taking samples from the neck and hip. Victoria is 56 centimeters long with 3 fingers on the hands and 4 phalanges. Feet has 3 toes with 3 phalanges. 11 pairs of ribs, including 2 floating pairs. Jaime Maussan sent tissue samples of Victoria to Infinite Mexico laboratory for radiocarbon 14 dating for analysis, and the image on the left shows that Victoria is 791 years old. Incari Institute sent also tissue samples of Maria to Institute of Physics of Fluminense Federal Brazil Laboratory for radiocarbon-14 dating for analysis. And the image on the right shows that Victoria radiocarbon age is 1,040 years old. Dr. Jose Salce said, Victoria has the same kind of characteristics, the same bone proportion, and the same 3 fingers as the other mummified bodies. Jaime Maussan and Gaia Entertainment Group, USA, provided tissues and bone fragment samples of Victoria to Biotemol Molecular Laboratory in Mexico for DNA analysis to the Synforgen laboratory for the next generating DNA sequencing test. And the results indicate a cervical bone sample of Victoria 36.27 correspond to Homo sapiens. A hip bone sample of Victoria 29.12% correspond to Homo sapiens. Jaime and Gaia Entertainment Group USA requested to Abrax Biosystem for a bioinformatic and genomic analysis of samples extracted from Victoria in order to identify the possible biology origin. A cervical bone sample of Victoria, 14.29 correspond to Homo sapiens, and hip bone sample of Victoria, 15.25% correspond to Homo sapiens. The Incari Institute took skin samples of Victoria for analysis. The histological study was carried out by Diagnostic Clinic Laboratory of Pathology of Campeche, Mexico, and the biologist Jose de la Cruz was in charge of the microphoto analysis performed under the microscope, confirming that Victoria is reptilian type. This is infant that resembles Maria anatomical. According to Professor Dmitry Galitsky, Wawita skeleton structure is similar to human. The skull has irregular, asymmetric shape. Most likely, it is congenital deformity. Professor Dmitry Galitsky said Wawita has multiple injuries. The spine and the ribs appear damaged as a result of hitting with a sharp object. The image on the left shows the neck is much damaged. The image on the right shows fractures and separations of ribs on the right and fractures of the pelvic bones. Professor Dimitri and radiologist Raimundo Salas said there are signs of manipulation, and the CT scan images show that 2 fingers and toes were removed from each hand and foot. Wawita's body is decomposed so much that it's unable to be touched. It appears this mummy was mutilated and either cares of life or after death to have similar appearance as a Maria mummy. This is the third group as Dr. Clara Martinez classified according with the analysis done by the laboratories. The single head is not the same as Josefina or Alberto, and the large hand is 30 centimeters long. Jaime Maussan sent brain tissue samples of the single head to Infinite Mexico laboratory for carbon-14 dating analysis, and the results shows a radiocarbon date of 1,052 years old. The Incari Institute, Peru, sent brain tissue samples to Caribbean Trace Genetic laboratory for carbon-14 dating analysis. The results shows a radiocarbon date of 1,010 years old. Jaime Maussan sent skin tissues of the large hand of Infinite Mexico laboratory for carbon-14 dating analysis. The results from hen tissues shows a radiocarbon date of 1205. In Cari Institute, Peru sent skin hen tissues in bone hen powder to Caribbean traces for carbon-14 dating analysis. The result is 1,080 years old. The skin tissues analysis for the large hen shows a radiocarbon date of 7,270. Then Gaia Entertainment Group USA sent skin hen tissues. And the skin tissues analysis result of the large hen shows a radiocarbon date of 6,420 years old. Regarding the large hen, there is discrepancy in the dating of the skin, 7,270 years, and the bone hen powder shows 1,080. The microbiologist, Dr. Mario Esparza, hypothesis is that the analysis of carbon dating of 7,270 and 6,420 would be due to traces of carbon that the skin absorbs this material, that is more ancestral, or that the large hen may have been treated with organic materials when embalmed. Leave it. No, come back. Yeah. These small pieces belong to Paul Roncero, no Scrawix. No analysis has ever been done, neither carbon-14 dating or DNA analysis. One of these pieces, Ronceros broke the leg, he glued it, then gave to the Minister of Culture staff for analysis. The doctor found that it was glued on. And based on this, the team of Minister of Culture said that it's a fraud. And as a consequence, Maria Josefina and Alberto also are found fraud. And they don't take into consideration all the results done by various laboratories and universities. These are the laboratories that have analyzed the biological samples of the tridactyl specimens. At the present, a group of Peruvian archaeologists are doing everything possible to stop any investigation by other Peruvian universities. The University of San Marcos was going to take in charge of the specimens to study in depth, but it was stopped by the intervention of this Peruvian group. Then the Peruvian Congressman Armando Villanueva was going to pass a bill that would preserve and protect these bodies and to make them available to scientists for around the world for examination and study. Now, Jaime Mozan in Cari Institute and Joyce Mantilla, a journalist, are dealing with the Luis Gonzaga University, Ica, Peru, to study and confirm the analysis carried out by various laboratories and universities around the world. Thank you for letting me speak today. Thank you to the Institute President in Cari, Thierry Jamin, Tercer Milenio, Jaime Mozan, the biologist Jose de la Cruz Rio from Mexico, Professor Dmitry Galetsky, Konstantin Korotkov from Russia, Dr. Mario Esparza, molecular biologist from Peru, the Peruvian journalist Jose Mantilla, and the journalist astronomer Fernando Correa Dominguez. And thank you here in Australia, Wendy, for supporting me. It was very hard for 2 years keep a trace of this investigation. Thank you.